Because when we focus on love, instead of all the rubbish in our heads that takes us into suffering and feeling like victims, and we start to let that all go, everything starts to change. Because what I'm being in each moment is what I'm creating and what I'm attracting. Okay, initially, yes, we have to liberate everything. And the quicker we can do it, better. Because it becomes like a distant memory. It's no longer controlling our lives. We start to own our own lives, not our pain, not our ego. We start to take responsibility in this moment. And it's beautiful because the facets do that automatic. You don't even have to believe it. You just have to think it. Just think it. Love creates me in my perfection. And forget about the list of why that's not true. Of all the things you perceive as wrong with you. Because the truth is, that's not true. The truth is you are perfect. You're perfectly human. And you're in evolution. Yeah. It's easy to think horrible things, to judge ourselves, to feel sorry for ourselves. But just a slight switch towards love, and that vibration starts to regenerate, to transform. It's so easy. So start choosing something new in the new year. And you came here to learn, no? And now you have to implement it in your lives. So I want, for the new ones, I want you to promise yourselves as your New Year's resolution that you will do this for 1 hour a day, yes or yes, for 1 month. Just all of January. That's all. Can you promise me that? Just January, that's all I want. 1 hour a day. And with your eyes open, as much as possible. And then in 1 month, you'll keep going. I won't, you don't need to promise me. I promise you. Yeah, it's just about creating a new habit. A habit based in love. Instead of going towards our destructive habits. Yeah, and looking for support. That's what we're here for. You know, we have such a network of support. And the support's free. We're here for you. Yeah, we're here to support you. Because we want you to continue. So use that possibility. And also look at what you're consuming. You know, what you're feeding yourself. And I'm not talking about through your mouth. I'm talking about what you're looking at. Like start to focus on consciousness. Listen to consciousness. Listen to positivity instead of the dramas and the fears and the politics and the negativity and all the things that transpire. Because there's lots of amazing things happening too. Really, lots of amazing people doing amazing things. And be one of those people. You know, really inspire yourself to be an empowerer. Yeah? Okay, that's the end of the lecture. But it's important, you know, that we focus on love, because that's what we'll create. For sure.
I'm very grateful for you and very grateful for the life that I have created, but I still have this fear of running out of money. I live off my savings, and I have this constant fear that my money's going to run out before I do. So how can
Before you do?
Yeah.
Well, there's this, you need to die quickly then.
I know, that would be good. It would be good.
Easy solution.
So how can I really trust and let go of that fear?
Okay. You know, you've got to focus on abundance, Shelley. Stop focusing on what you don't have and just be constantly appreciating what you do have. Who does that? Who in your life did that? Always worrying about money. And as a consequence, because money is an energy, it's not flowing in the way you want. Because we get taught these behaviors. It comes from our family. We have to be careful. There's not going to be enough. But you always have enough. You're here. And that's reality. So when these thoughts come, because that's your big groove, no? It's always been your groove. You have to be more ruthless. And give more. You know, that's another thing. You have fear about letting go. And once you learn that, you learn that as you're giving, you're receiving. And it keeps growing. And set up a plan. Do a plan to create more money. There's a billion things you can do. But move into action. Instead of thinking of what's not going to work, move into action. Because it is too soon for you to die. Because you're very healthy and fit and holistic and very loved. Yeah, so it's probably best you don't die. Okay? Just trust. And see how that hooks you and makes you suffer. And it also makes you compromise. You don't give to yourself. And that's what's important. You have to give to yourself. Good.
I left an abusive marriage of 22 years, where I dedicated myself to be just wife and mom, 100%. And now that I was able to finish that, I'm lost. I don't know what am I. I don't know what's my place. I don't know where
Well, you've
to
started
start.
in the right place. Because you're starting to give to yourself. And you have to start healing. You know, it's a process, this transformation. Oh, I used to always abandon myself. I always put other people first. I wasn't happy, but I stayed because I'm responsible. The truth is, that wasn't responsibility. That wasn't unconditional love. That was abandonment. Okay, so you did all of that. And you're going to move it. You know, you're going to unify. You're going to be angry with him. You're going to be angry with yourself. And that's good. Get angry. Get sad. And let it go. And then start to open. Open to see. Where's my next step? And it will be so clear. But in this moment, you're in the middle. You've left that behind, but you haven't crossed the bridge completely. Where you're empowered, where you're secure. That's why so many women go back. They go back to the abusive situations. But you won't do that because you're replacing that habit with consciousness. And that will give you the strength to move forward. And we'll support you. You know, you have to just start trusting. You know, this becomes like an addiction. Anything that makes us suffer, on some level, we get addicted to the feeling of being mistreated, of not being good enough. And on some crazy level, we associate that with love. Because it's what we know. It's what we know. But now you're going to change. But it changes internally. Me loving me. Nurturing that experience. I know I'm always doing this. Because it's an experience. It's not an idea. It's a powerful experience. And it makes you feel secure. I never abandon this. This makes me speak the truth. This pushes me through all situations. This empowers me. I don't think there's anything I can't do. Because I trust implicitly in my experience. Okay, and you'll get to that point. You'll get to that point. Yeah?
How can I continue supporting my daughter in that way if I'm doing it right? And another question. And that's the last one. Can you explain a little bit about duality?
Now, these days, those codes, they don't exist anymore. You know, I remember when I was little, my mother was always saying, can you be more feminine? Can you be more feminine? And she was constantly focused on that. And I was an athlete. I was riding horses. You know, I didn't want to walk around in a pink dress with high heels. No, it was not my thing. Yeah? So you just need to let kids have their own expression. And you need to let kids be themselves. And obviously she has a lot of clarity. You know, and that's another thing for parents. You have to stop worrying about what other people think. Because really, children define themselves. They don't define you. You're an individual, and they're an individual. How they are, how they present themselves, it's their responsibility. But you know, but parents always think, oh, I need to protect them. But do you? No, you're projecting your own image. What will people think? What will people think? It's what you think that's important. So that's good. Duality is everything. Good, bad, right, wrong, night, day, fear, love. It creates the human experience. Everything's dual. It attracts the energies, has to have positive and negative. And that's creation. That's what allows time and space. That's what creates, that's the architect of this illusion or this creation. If that doesn't exist, there's only love. But love in the highest vibration. And love in the highest vibration is in the eternal now. So this experience can't exist in that. Because in that, there's no time and space. Nothing. Just is. That. So we start to cultivate that within ourselves. And then that permeates the illusion of duality. And it becomes duality within the unity. And that makes absolutely no sense until it happens. And when that happens, you realize there's nothing but love. And the fear doesn't exist. It's something we create to create separation from unconditional love. Yeah. So I know, and this is what the system's completely experiential. Because the facets are the reality of unity. And they start to become your experience. They're not just some little phrase that I was walking around thinking about. You know, smoking a puro. Oh, I think I'll say praise love this moment. No, praise. Let me think about it. No, it's my experience. Yeah, darling.
When you say about the window of perception, we are born with that totally clean. But which one is the difference of all the programming that I have to
Firstly, you weren't born like that. You learned it. And you just told us where. You learned it from your father. Okay? And if you don't like it, it has an energy, no? It has an addiction. That impatience, that needing to move. And it creates chaos to a certain point if you judge it. I'm sure it has lots of positive things too. You achieve a lot, you're very focused, you're powerful, you're clear. So it's not all doing something wrong. But the point where it starts to make you suffer, that's where you have to tame the beast, no? Okay, how do I tame the beast? Because it might be okay for you, but maybe not for everyone else. Okay? So you have to use the facets. Because you'll see that impatience, you'll see that exigence, and you have to stop and recognize it. And just start to use the facet, breathe, and let go. Okay. I'm choosing for something different in this moment. I'm going to use this moment to be present in my consciousness instead of chasing my illusions or my control. Yes? And just see that you learned that. And that's what we do. We copy. We copy. Great. This is the beauty of consciousness, because once you're present, you can start to choose what serves and what doesn't. Because we have this idea of how we are. You know, I can get any of you to describe yourselves, and the truth is, you have no idea how you are. You have an idea. But when you start to really connect deeply, the first thing that's going to surprise you is your repetitive thoughts. And the amount of negativity and fear that's involved in your thoughts. Then you're going to notice how critical you are of yourself. You know, you're criticizing yourself constantly. But if someone criticizes you, you fly into a rage. You know, you feel offended. Don't talk to me like that. But you're doing it all day. You know, and you'll start to see. And it's going to surprise you. And you'll start to see the fear. Because lots of people think they don't have fear. But they have a lot of deep fear. Fear of disapproval, fear of not being good enough, fear of being abandoned, fear of not being loved. All humans have those fears. All. If you go deep enough. And this is what we're healing. This is what we're healing. I know, because I did the process. And I was pretty complicated.
I design fashion, and it happens constantly that people judge me because I dedicate to fashion, dedicate to something that people think is superficial, and also happens that people doesn't like me and I don't even know them.
You know, the thing is, you're perfect exactly as you are. And if fashion's it's your passion, great. Great. We need people to design fashion, or we'd be walking around naked. Okay, so it's an important job to create beauty, to reflect on what we love. It's to be an artist, no? A creator. The judgment is yours. And you've got to let them go. You'll find that when you start to go inside, you're not valuing what you do. And you're not seeing clearly what you're creating. That's why you're in such a hurry to have more, 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 more. I used to be like that. Why? Because in the more, I felt I had value. But I had value anyway. So you have to find that value inside yourself. And then you'll create from a place of freedom. And that freedom will create more. Because it will be a creation of love, not of fear. And that's the difference for artistic people that are doing something unique. You have to be completely in it, not just doing it to and then defending what you're doing. You don't need a defense. It's your choice. It's your choice what you want to create. Yeah? So you really need to cultivate what your t-shirt says. In the silence, you don't lack anything. So read that t-shirt.
My fear of rejection, and obvious, when I'm not thinking facet, I disconnect from everyone, and from myself. That's the worst.
Sure, but the thing is, you're creating what you fear because you're isolating. And that's what rejection creates. Isolation. And that's the irony of humanity. All we want's love. And we push it away. We push it away to protect ourselves. But we're protecting ourselves from what we want. We want to be loved. Okay, and you have to become your number one fan. And you have to give that love to you. All the time, all the time, all the time. Because that's what this is for. It's for you to love you and to open and receive more love from everyone, not just from us. Yeah, so you have got to stop rejecting yourself. Yeah?
My problem is with the innocence. I feel I cannot be innocent. And comes to my mind to let go of expectations and allow myself to
The
be
thing is, you're
surprised.
not trusting because you won't let go of control. But the beautiful thing about life is that when you start to let go of control, you're open to receive more. But you associate innocence with stupidity or naivety. And it's not that. Innocence is saying yes to a bigger picture. Because we don't know what's coming. We always have, I have a saying, we're clasping our rocks and the universe is trying to throw diamonds. But we're like, no, 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 no. I know what I want. I know what my expectations are. But when you let go of that rigidity and you move into action, you flow. And when you flow, you're open to a much bigger picture. Much bigger picture. But how do you let go? You have to cultivate an experience of trust internally. Again, you have to cultivate love consciousness. Because you let go of this and you sit here in your heart. And that's not stupid or innocently naive. That's power. Trust is power. You'll see, the more you unify, it will open more and more.
You are a great teacher, and I think you gave something to each of us this day. But who were your teachers? Who inspired you? who you admire, from whom you learn to get to where you are.
You know, I had an interesting path because I never had a specific teacher. But I had a quality that served me so much, and that was I had no spiritual ego. I thought everyone knew more than me. I thought that I was a disaster. And I listened to everyone. I surrendered to everyone and everything I was open to receive. And I listened to different people, but not anything specific, like not one teacher, many different teachers. But I was like the perfect student because I was to hear. I was so open, so wanting to change, so obedient, so going inwards, trusting, moving forward, trusting. And my consciousness, unbeknownst to me, without me knowing, was always very high. But I didn't know that because I didn't have high self-esteem. I naturally had a lot of intuition, a lot of wisdom, but because I'd had it all my life, I thought it was normal. And I underestimated everything. So my innocence was my teacher, and my big yes to everyone. After I got enlightened, and everything changed. And now I can hear the truth in other teachers because I am that. So I admire a lot of people. I admire anyone that's empowered. I admire anyone that's transforming their lives. I admire everyone in this room because I'm that. I see myself everywhere. I told you, I'm very normal. I just have an extraordinary experience. Yeah? That's the best way I can answer your question. Yeah.
Can you talk about humbleness?
Consciousness is humble because it sees itself in everything. It sees humanity in totality, and it sees its humanity, and that creates compassion. I never associate with the word humble, though, because with humility, I always have the vision of people pretending, like this. Yes, and that is also ego. You know, consciousness is nothing. It's not humble. It's not proud. It's not anything. It's just natural. It's just innocent. It's compassionate because of what it's experienced within its humanity. I don't know if you call that humility. It's certainly not ego. It's egolessness. But I never use the word humble.
If sometimes that lack of humbleness that is resolved as ego makes us not to see ourselves in our totality and to be able to recognize our greatness.
So why can't we embrace our greatness? Because for all of our lives, we've been told there's something wrong with us. And we believe it. We think there's something wrong with us. And that's why it's hard for us to trust that people love us, that we're great, that we're masterful creators, because there's a little voice, which is also the ego, which is always pulling us down. Some people have an ego that's a false orgullo, right? False pride. And other people have an ego that's always pulling them down, pulling them down, pulling them down. And once you become the consciousness, you're in the middle, in that place of silence, trusting in yourself. It's not loud. It's not pulling you down. It's just natural. Free to be yourself.
Can you talk about the relationship in between consciousness with sickness or unconsciousness with sickness and the capacity of consciousness to repair tissues and organs in general?
Okay. You know, I don't have an absolute. But what I do know is as we lift our vibration, all of the stress leaves and the damage starts to repair. I don't know to what point. I can't guarantee anything. But I do know that if you service a car and you change everything, it's going to function better, yes? And this is what we're doing with our bodies. We're elevating the vibration, and it eliminates very quickly everything that doesn't serve. And it's so important to drink water, to get exercise, all of these filters, and listen to what your body wants to consume. Because you might find that your diet changes, that it wants a change. Because our bodies talk to us if we're open to listen. So, you know it can only be positive. And I know that when we're full of stress, we create disease because the body can't eliminate the stress and it starts to accumulate, obviously, because it's all energy.
Come visit our webpage for books, movies, and our wonderful retreat centers. Isha's simple yet powerful system is transforming lives around the world.